I declare martial law to protect the Free Republic of Korea from the threat of North Korean communist forces and to protect the free constitutional order.
Barely 2 days after declaring martial law, South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol is already facing impeachment calls. This unprecedented move has sparked outrage, protests, and questions about the future of democracy in one of Asia's most vibrant economies. What led to this shocking decision? Why did the backlash erupt so quickly? And what happens next for President Yoon and South Korea? Stick around as we dive deep into this unfolding political drama. To stay in the loop and never miss out on geopolitical events around the world, kindly subscribe to the channel. On December 3, 2024, President Yoon Suk-yeol shocked South Korea and the world by declaring martial law. The government cited a combination of threats from North Korea and growing domestic unrest as justification for this drastic measure. Under South Korea's constitution, Article 77 allows the president to declare martial law in emergencies threatening national security or public order. However, it's a tool rarely used in democratic nations and carries heavy implications. The announcement came after intelligence suggested North Korea was bolstering its military activities, reportedly sending troops and arms to Russia amidst rising global tensions. South Korea's National Intelligence Service, NIS, had warned of potential provocations. President Yoon claimed that martial law would help secure stability in the face of these threats. However, critics saw things differently. Many believed this was less about external threats and more about suppressing internal dissent. South Korea has been grappling with significant political and economic tensions under Yoon's leadership. His conservative policies, combined with allegations of mismanagement, had already led to plummeting approval ratings. By December, his popularity had fallen to just 17%. Martial law imposed strict controls. The military was granted sweeping powers to oversee public safety, restrict protests, and censor media. It also limited parliamentary immunity, which some saw as an attempt to weaken opposition lawmakers. This sudden suspension of democratic norms sent shockwaves across South Korea. Opposition parties, led by the Democratic Party of Korea, DPK, immediately accused Yoon of abusing his power to suppress dissent. The backlash against the martial law declaration was swift and overwhelming. Protests erupted in major cities, with thousands of citizens taking to the streets to demand its reversal. From university students to working professionals, the message was clear: martial law has no place in a democratic South Korea. On December 4th, just 1 day after the declaration, the DPK convened an emergency session in the National Assembly. Despite attempts by the military to block access to the parliamentary chamber, lawmakers managed to gather. In a historic and defiant move, they voted unanimously to overturn the martial law. This forced President Yoon into a corner. By the evening of December 4th, he rescinded the martial law declaration, marking one of the shortest-lived implementations in history. While the reversal was a relief to many, the damage was already done. Public trust in Yoon's administration plummeted further, and comparisons to South Korea's authoritarian past began to dominate headlines. One key criticism was the lack of transparency in Yoon's decision-making process. Analysts pointed out that the martial law declaration came without concrete evidence of imminent threats from North Korea. Instead, it seemed to many as a way to distract from domestic challenges, including ongoing corruption scandals and economic struggles. The reversal also showcased the strength of South Korea's democratic institutions. The National Assembly's ability to act swiftly, coupled with public pressure, highlighted the resilience of the country's checks and balances. However, the episode left lingering questions about how close South Korea had come to slipping into autocracy. The reversal of martial law did not ease the anger of South Koreans. Instead, it fueled calls for accountability. Many citizens and opposition leaders demanded nothing less than President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment. The Democratic Party of Korea, DPK, which controls the National Assembly, quickly initiated the impeachment process. They accused Yoon of abusing his power, violating constitutional principles, and endangering democracy. Public opinion was overwhelmingly against Yoon. Surveys conducted in the wake of the martial law reversal revealed that nearly 60% of South Koreans supported impeachment, or called for his resignation. Protesters, emboldened by the success of reversing martial law, continued to demonstrate in the streets, chanting for justice and change. South Korea's history of impeaching presidents added weight to the situation. In 2017, then-President Park Geun-hye was impeached and removed from office after a corruption scandal. Citizens viewed impeachment not just as a legal mechanism, but as a tool to protect democracy. Yoon's actions reminded many of the country's authoritarian past, when martial law was used to suppress dissent and consolidate power. The impeachment process, while initiated, faced significant challenges. Although the DPK controlled the National Assembly, removing the president requires a two-thirds majority in a vote. Furthermore, the Constitutional Court must confirm the charges, a process that could take months. Legal experts debated whether Yoon's declaration of martial law, though controversial, violated the Constitution to the extent that it warranted impeachment. Despite these hurdles, the political damage was undeniable. Yoon's approval ratings hit new lows, making it difficult for him to govern effectively, even if he avoided impeachment. His Conservative People Power Party distanced itself from the martial law decision, with some members criticizing his leadership. This internal division further weakened his position. What's next for South Korea? The political crisis raises broader questions about South Korea's future. Many are calling for reforms to prevent the misuse of martial law powers. Some lawmakers proposed amendments to the constitution that would require more stringent oversight before such declarations. Others argued for stricter limits on presidential authority during emergencies. Internationally, the incident also raised eyebrows. Allies like the United States expressed concern about South Korea's political stability. North Korea, meanwhile, criticized the chaos, using it as propaganda to highlight the instability of democratic governance in the South. As the impeachment proceedings unfold, South Korea faces a pivotal moment. Whether Yoon is removed or allowed to finish his term, this episode will likely shape the nation's politics for years to come. At its core, the crisis serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between security and democracy, and how quickly that balance can tip.